Breathe, darling. This is just a chapter. It's not the whole book. That's so obvious, isn't it? And yet, when we're in it, we feel like the chapter we are in is the whole book. And it's very hard to get that perspective, to get that distance and kind of go, yeah, this will pass. This too will pass is very hard to know when what you are in is very painful. Then the whole idea of this too will pass, this is just a chapter, it's not the whole book, darling. That's like, no, I don't care, because right now it hurts. And it's been hurting for a week, and it looks like it's going to be hurting for the rest of my life. This is one of the things that pain, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain, it really challenges us to, can we get our consciousness fast enough so that we can know these things, so that we can know the whole book when we are caught up in the pain of a chapter. And some chapters are excruciating, and some chapters seem to just go on forever. And when that's happening, we kind of think that this isn't a chapter, this is the whole book. This has been going on my whole life. You ever had that feeling? It's very hard. But that's the challenge. That's the fun challenge of existence and having a life. It's like, can I remember? Can I remember that I am kind of eternal? That there's a bigger part of me? And that this feels so like it's just been going on forever. Can I remember it hasn't been going on forever, that it disappears every night? Even if you have trouble sleeping, there's still a point where you can't help it but fall asleep. And then you can't help but go into deep dreamless sleep. I can say that confidently because you'd be dead if you couldn't. We have to go to the mystery. If we can't get to the mystery, you can't survive. Your body can't sustain itself. Or, probably more accurately, we can't sustain the illusion. So it disappears. So even though things feel like they last forever, and that, this chapter has been going on my whole life, the whole idea of a life is a continuous series of moments that are held together by our mind and a sense of continuity that isn't really as real as we would like to think, because it all disappears every night. We think that oh, I wake up in the morning and my body's been asleep and all that kind of thing. But we don't, that's not our direct experience. It all just disappears. All the heartache, all the pain, physical pain, all the pain just disappears every night in deep dreamless sleep. So really what we call our life is a series of experiences of existence that we string together as, oh, that's a life. And when you can kind of see it like that, it makes it easier to get to this place of this idea of a chapter. Because even though there are different themes in a life, and you can kind of go, oh, I've been struggling with money my whole life, or I've been struggling with these terrible things that happened to me in my childhood my whole life. There can be themes that go on, overarching themes that can feel like a never-ending chapter. And then there can be like, oh, there was that time I worked for that tyrant. Oh, there was that relationship I was in, that was terrible. Oh, remember when I used to live in that place, it was awful, I had terrible neighbors. Those are kind of chapters, very obviously chapters, and it's easy to kind of go, they will pass. But the bigger overarching themes, they too are chapters within the bigger story. And even you could say that your life is a chapter in the bigger story of you. Because we, even though we don't like to think of it, are so much bigger than we appear to be to others, but also mainly to ourselves. where there's so much more mystery to us than we like to acknowledge. Like simple things like, where do we go in deep dreamless sleep? Do we go anywhere? We seem to come back refreshed. Now you can go, oh, no, your body, yeah, fine. But there's also another part where we kind of go, I think there's something else going on there. There's a deeper kind of thing. I have no memory of where I go, but I feel good when I wake up. That's pretty mysterious to me. And there's so much more mystery in us that is there to be seen. So it's very helpful to remember and to, as this meme says, breathe, darling, you know, in a sort of plummy British voice, breathe, darling. It's just a chapter. You could say that about anything. It's just a chapter. It's not the whole book. And that's very helpful to remember.